Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Love Dogs channel. I know I said I wasn't going to do any more videos about gear, but I did want to just put out a video about this new tent that I got. I finally upgraded to the Duplex L made by Zpacks. The reason why I decided to go for this tent is because this stretch that we're getting ready to do is 130 miles, and so and it's in the San Juan, so I gotta sit, sorry. Oof. There's gonna be lots of climbing, and last year when I was out, it seems like each year that I'm out, climbing around at altitude in the mountains gets just a little bit harder and harder the older I get. And with my asthma, it really helps to keep my pack weight to a minimum. It is a DCF Cuban fiber tent. These are super popular, but they're also very expensive, and when they first came out, I kind of scoffed at it because it's just a lot of money for a tent, and I would never have seen myself spending that much money on it, especially since I backpack with dogs, and I think I've talked about this before when I did my tent videos. My previous tent setup was Big Agnes. I've been using the Tiger Wall UL2. It's worked great for us, the dogs and myself. However, I cut a pound of weight off, or right around there, switching to the Zpacks, and that's a significant amount of weight for me. So really glad that I was able to do that. I'm a little nervous because I'm about to head out on a 130-mile backpacking trip with a brand new tent. I think it's going to work for us. I am just a little bit nervous because it is a trekking pole tent, and I don't use trekking poles because when the dogs are leashed to me, trekking poles get in the way, and the dogs don't like trekking poles either. It makes them nervous. So I don't use trekking poles, and this tent is a trekking pole tent. It requires 2 trekking poles to keep it upright, or you have to buy Zpacks carbon fiber tent poles, which is what I did since I don't use trekking poles. So it uses 2 of these, and I'm gonna set it up here and let you see what it looks like, and I'm gonna take you inside. I'm also gonna show you a couple of hacks that I did to it. If I can find the user who shared this hack, I'll be sure to link to him because I appreciate the hack. I think it's really gonna help quite a bit with the floating floor. I'm not a fan of the floating floor, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Alright, so this is the Duplex L, which is the longer version of the Duplex by Zpacks. It's 6 inches longer, and it has these stays at each end that pull the tent away from your head and your feet. And that just gives you a little bit more space to not touch the tent, because this is a single wall tent, and single wall tents have a little more condensation on the inside, and so keeping the tent from touching you is really important. And also I'm packing a chamois so that I can dry off the inside if it gets real bad. But anyway, so the Duplex L differs from the regular Duplex in that it's 6 inches longer, and it includes these stays at the head and the foot end. So this tent has what they call a floating floor, which basically means that the top part, the waterproof part, this part, has a guy line attached to it, and you would stake it out like you normally would a corner of a tent. However, the floor, bathtub floor, comes down 8 inches and does not have a tie-out point, which means that when the wind blows, the whole floor kind of flies in the breeze. It's what they call a floating floor. I was able to do some searching on YouTube and find some hacks, or a hack. Basically, what I've done is Zpacks sells these stick-on loops, and it's made specifically for the Cuban fiber material, and it's just an adhesive. It's a clear adhesive. And what I did, I actually stuck my phone. All you have to do is stick something on the inside to make this a sharp corner, and then stick that adhesive loop on the corner so that you have a guy out point here now. And then I bought, Sea to Summit has these guy lines that come with the little anchor hook, and so you can just flip that, insert that anchor in through the loop and then back up through itself, and you don't have to tie a knot or anything, and it's pretty secure, so no worries there. And then it has a line lock on it. It has just the basic V-lock. It's not the best, but it does the trick. And so, you know, I can pull this taut, and I have that on all four corners. And so I can actually stake out the floor, not just the top, but also the floor, so it's not flying around all the time. I have also put those adhesive loops on each of the center points. And right now I just have the carbon fiber pole going through the loop, which, you know, that could work if I don't want to pack anything extra. That could work, but what I had originally planned to do was put a stake in those loops. But as you can see, the inside is pretty taut. Without being staked out like that, the wind would be shifting it and it'd be floating all over the place. So I like a taut floor, and I think it would also help to keep rain out when it's storming or raining hard. So, you know, I'm happy with this hack, and I'll let you know what I think about it when I get off the trail. I'll let you know how it has served me and the dogs. When you do open this door all the way, it lays in the floor, across the floor, which isn't ideal. And of course, you know, that's going to be an issue trying to keep the dogs off of it as well. I had thought about putting down a foam pad, but there's a pole in the middle, so that's hard to do too. There's going to be a learning curve. It's a new tent. They're going to have to get used to it, and I am too. I know it's hard to tell on a camera, but I am sitting at the very head end, and there is a lot of space down at the foot end. So if I sit up where my head is not touching the roof of the tent, this is where my feet come. So it's a lot of space, and that's why I got it, because I thought this would be great for the two dogs and myself. You know, the dogs can either lay beside me or at my feet, you know, and we've got plenty of space. And even though the width is actually narrower than the tiger wall, it still feels more spacious. And that's partly because of the longer length, but it's also because sorry, that's really bright, lots of sun. It's also because there's a taller peak height at the center. It's much taller than the tiger wall. And so it feels more spacious. And even though the walls of the tent pretty much angle sharply down, like I said, you know, I've got plenty of room to scooch, you know, up against the side of the wall, and my head's still not touching the side wall. So, you know, I'm really happy. This is how close I am to the head of the tent, and my head is not touching the wall here. So, and I'm 5'4", so I'm short, of course, but it works really well for me. So I'm pretty excited about this. Zpacks does include some DCF tape in here. And then, you know, there's been lots of videos made about the Zpacks tents, but in case you haven't seen any of them, I'm just going to show you how you keep the water out. Because like I said, this is a single wall tent. But the idea is you've got this cord here, and I've got it pulled all the way tight, and you don't really have to, but you know, if it's not raining, you can loosen this and let there be a little more ventilation, let that hang loose. But when it's raining, you want this bottom of the bathtub floor pulled up so that the water drains off the top and not into your tent. It's supposed to just drain off, and then condensation on the inside will supposedly, we'll find out, drain off the inside and through the mesh and go outside and not in your tent. I think it's going to work pretty well for us. Like I said, when we take it out on this long stretch of trail, I will definitely give my final thoughts and my review at the end of it and let all of you specifically those of you who backpack with dogs. I've had a couple of exchanges with Zpacks customer service specifically about dogs. I asked them about the floor, and they said that lots of people with dogs use it, which is funny because I cannot find a single review on YouTube specifically about someone using this tent with dogs, but I'm gonna make one when I get off the trail so that there will be one out there. But I anticipate it'll work well. I did buy an 1/8 inch EVA foam pad for the floor that's 40 inches wide by 80 inches long. And so that foam pad is 6 ounces, 6.6 ounces. Not a terrible amount of weight for extra floor protection. If you got a footprint, a Tyvek footprint, it's going to weigh about the same, if not more. I went with the 1/8 inch foam pad also because it could be used as minimal, but some insulation for the dogs as well, to get them tiny bit of insulation from the cold ground. But I'm really excited about this tent, and as you can see, I am not in Lubbock. I am at my parents' house in the Midwest, land of the tall corn. So yeah, it's really hot and really humid, and I just got a message on my camera saying that the camera is hot. So I'm just gonna cut this video off here. I wanted to just show you this tent and show you the hack that I did. Hopefully someone will find it helpful. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about gear anymore, but this is a significant enough upgrade for me that I want to share my thoughts about it, especially after we get off the trail. I want to let you know how we did in it with the dogs. So stay tuned for that review. It'll be a while, but we'll be hitting the trail soon enough. I'm really looking forward to getting home and editing some great footage from the trail and sharing with you guys this ending of a 6-year-long adventure. So this is pretty big for me. Been working on finishing this trail for a long time. I don't know what's going to happen. I've been around long enough to know that not everything goes as planned, and sometimes things don't work out. That has happened lots. So I'm trying not to get attached to finishing, but sure would be nice, because I've got a book that I want to finish and get out for all of you, and I definitely want to get out some great video content for you too. I want to show you the San Juans, some of the views up there, and just take you with us. So stay tuned. We'll catch you next time.